Okay, so gonna do some more reaction videos today. I saw this was on the news today. Welcome to another mass shooting, and I had just talked about other mass shootings earlier in the week, and I want to give my thoughts on this. I think they said 4 killed so far, and 2 of them teachers. The information comes and goes. So it's I don't know what the official count will be. We'll find out later on. But the reason I want to kind of talk about this is because I have a couple of ideas that could help maybe reduce what do you call it? Not reduce mass shootings, but reduce casualties. So before I start the video, here's a couple thoughts that I've had, and I think that society should not have to wait for the government to act. Because if you wait for a government to act on an issue, it can take forever. Obviously, we've had I don't know how many mass shootings, and the government really doesn't do it much to prevent it. So it's up to citizens, and it's really up to the private market to do something about it. And here's a couple of ideas that I've had. One is using technology to combat this issue, and what I mean is have like around school campuses and maybe like stadiums and concert areas or places where there's going to be high amounts of people, and obviously guns are not allowed. So have a camera system that uses AI to identify that scans people and really primarily scans weapons. And if it sees somebody carrying a rifle in an area that they're not supposed to, for example, in a school campus, you're not supposed to have, not just in school, but like I think most of the time it's 300 feet away from a school, you're not supposed to carry, it's a gun-free zone. You're not supposed to have a weapon. So have computer systems around campuses, and if somebody comes in on grounds, if the AI sees a rifle, it triggers a shutdown, and no one in and out of the school. So this is something that we don't need a law to be passed. This is something that schools could just implement on themselves. It'll cost money, but it's doable. Also, you could also have like make it harder to come onto campus. For example, like the building I'm in, it's operated on badges or through an app. The doors don't just open. Everything's automatically locked, and you have to have badge access or through your phone. You open the door through your phone, and even the elevator doesn't work without the phone or your badge, because none of the buttons work. You have to buzz yourself in. And schools could have this where teachers have the only way to get inside after schools has started is through badge access. Like and the doors are always automatically shut. Like in the Uvalde school shooting, the guy just walked into the side door. School should have, like I said, it should be hard to get into a school for anyone who doesn't belong there. And maybe have something like that where the only way in and out is with badge access. Maybe even have it to the point where even students need badge access to get into campus. But I'm more in the favor of just having staff have those badge access, or even have it on your phone, because obviously somebody could take your badge. but someone really can't take your phone and unlock it and go through the app, and it makes it a little bit more difficult. That's why I kind of like the system we have here, because with the phone access. And again, this is something that can be implemented, and obviously this is not going to stop a mass shooting. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect system that I'm thinking about, but I'm thinking more in the lines of reducing it or making it more difficult. It's like wearing body armor. Yes, it's not going to stop. Let's say in law enforcement who wear body armor. Yes, it's not going to stop you from getting killed, but it's going to reduce the area. Like, yes, you can get shot in the head, but it just gives you a higher probability of surviving an attack. That's it. Again, it's not an absolute solution, and we get caught up in the debates about wanting solutions that are absolute perfect systems, and instead of just saying, look, man, what can we do to minimize casualties? And that's really what I'm talking about. Is the ideas that I'm going to come up with today, they're not about stopping things perfectly. These are more in the lines of what could be implemented right now, and without the government waiting for the government. Especially in like private schools, where you have private fundings. You don't have to wait for somebody to come up with the money. Yeah. So this can be done. A couple other things that I came up with is, as a gun owner, I'm always worried that somebody can steal my gun, and I say this because I usually leave one in my truck at all times. I usually carry one on my person, leave one in my truck, leave one at home, and I'm always worried when I'm at somewhere like in downtown or grocery shopping or whatnot, that if somebody breaks into my vehicle and takes my weapon away, that I basically just lost my weapon. And I've had friends who that here in Texas, it's pretty common to have a weapon in your vehicle, and I know of two people that somebody broke into their truck and took their gun away from them while it was parked. And one of them, he's law enforcement. They found his gun years later in a different city used in a crime. And I would like it if I could track my gun with like an air tag. I think that would be if the gun manufacturers made newer guns with built-in like air tags that were powered. I don't know, that they had that were powered. I don't know, like for long life, because I think Apple AirTags last like a year. Maybe the technology would change, but I noticed that they could be maybe mechanically powered or something. So with movement that would charge it, so it they never lose power, so that you could always keep your know where your guns are at. And I bring this up because a lot of school shootings happen with parents, the guns of the parent, and it could be prevented if the parent has like an AirTag system, and that it sends an alert once the I don't know, it senses the gun has moved from it's, I don't know, like maybe the gun, constant motion of the gun triggers an alert, and it sends it to the phone of the owner, and it says, "Oh, look, man, why is my gun in my car moving?" And it sends you an alert. So parents who have weapons at home, with teenagers and kids, they can know that, oh, my damn kid took the gun. We had a shooting here in Santa Fe, Texas, and the gun the shooter used was his parents, and that is, like I said, it's pretty common because obviously kids can't can't buy guns, and the easiest gun that they could get is from home, from their parents, because especially if they're just lying around. And they're like, well, you can put a safe or put them in a gun safe, but the thing with that is, kids being kids, they're gonna eventually figure out how to get into a safe in this. Which I'm still pro, have a safe and everything, but this is just one extra measure as a gun owner to know where your gun's at. Also, just in case somebody steals it, if somebody breaks into your house, they see a gun safe. That's what they're going after. They're going after a safe. They're going after your valuables, and you probably will never get them back. But if there's a built-in system in a gun, that would be amazing to me. That way I know if it gets stolen, I know I could retrieve it. So this would be great if the private companies, the private gun companies, decided to do something to implement this, like a smart gun, to their customers. And obviously we have Apple AirTags that you could probably put in a gun, but maybe maybe in a rifle, a handgun, not so much, because it's an AirTag's too big. But maybe you could hide it inside the buttstock of like an AR. That is a possibility. I also thought that if they have built-in chips, that this would be great also for law enforcement, because if law enforcement loses a gun or has a gun stolen, they could also figure out quickly how to retrieve it again. If not AirTags, how about RFID chips at the very minimum? Even RFID chips don't really require like batteries, and they could have RFID chips that set up sensors around schools, and if a gun with an RFID chip crosses the perimeter, it sends an alert to the school that a gun's on campus. RFID chips don't track guns, or RFID chips don't track anything, and they just alert that it has been in the area. It doesn't really they're not like used for tracking, but it's, if, like I said, if you had a system around campus that where we have guns that are now made with RFID chips, and it triggers an alert, the school could go on lockdown and give them ample time to stop a shooter from getting on campus. Just a thought, I don't know. I'm always just trying to think, just little things here and there that we can do as citizens to prevent these mass shootings. Because again, if you wait for the government's gonna take forever. They're gonna be on the right, people who are pro-gun, who don't want anything done that infringes on gun rights, and then on the left you have extreme views of they just want no guns, And I'm more of a like I said, I'm a gun owner. And I'm also more of a libertarian, that I kind of want limited government. So I'm thinking, what can we do realistically as citizens? And this is my idea. Use technology as much as possible to identify people with weapons. It won't be perfect, but it's something, and some of this is stuff that already exists, like the AI that can spot rifles, but that would only help, like in Uvalde, the guy was walking around with the rifle openly. If you had that system in place, it would have shut down before he even got into campus. And again, if you also have badges to go into school, that would have helped out even more. Something like that would not help, like if somebody had if a student had it hidden in a bag. But again, this isn't a perfect system. It's just little measures here and there just to make it a little bit difficult. You know, it's not going to save. It's not going to be. It's not going to prevent mass shootings, but it should help making it harder for these killers to do this. And now let me watch this video clip real quick. This is I guess an interview with a student who was at the school, and it just came out like a few minutes ago. I haven't seen it.
16 years old. She was actually in algebra class just this morning, elbow to elbow with that shooter, Colt Gray, as he's been named by the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. Let me first start with, how are you? How are you coping?
I'm okay. I'm pushing through it, talking to friends, making sure, everyone else is okay, checking on people around me.
Can you bring me back? What happened?
I just remember, the moment that it happened, he was at the door, and I knew they were looking for him already, but he was at the door, and they almost let him in until they backed up, and then he turned away, and that's when you hear, the first rounds of fire.
So he was in class with you, in algebra class, he left. Then he came back, was at the door, and then knocking to be let back in. Why? You told me something about the doors.
Yeah, they lock automatically, so you have to be let in to come back into our classroom.
Okay, so that's pretty cool that the school has doors that lock automatically during the shutdown. So again, just simple things like this can help reduce the number of casualties.
So I think he wanted to come to us first.
Come to you first to shoot?
Yes, to shoot us.
I mean, obviously, he ain't coming to bring you candy.
And then he was at the door, student went to open the door, and then what happened?
She backed away. I think she saw him, or maybe somebody said something, but I'm pretty sure she saw that he had a gun, and so she backed away.
So she was about to let him into the class, you think, to shoot the students, saw that he had a gun, did not let him in. What happened next?
He turns to the classroom to what would have been my right, and he just starts to shoot, and you hear about 10 to 15 rounds back to back.
What did you hear? What did you think was going on?
I mean, she knew what was going on. It was a mass shooting.
As soon as they did let him in, you kind of I don't know, I already kind of had a feeling it was gonna happen. It was him. But as soon as they did let him in, and you hear the gunshots, you kind of know.
You knew that something very bad was happening next door. Did he ever say anything?
No, he never really talked. He was pretty quiet. He wasn't there most times. Either he just didn't come to school or he just would skip class. But even when he would have talked, it was one-word answers or just short statements.
You told me off camera you weren't surprised that he would be the shooter. Why is that?
Just because when you think of shooters and how they act or things that they do, it's usually the quiet kid or that's a stereotype for it to be. And
that's what I always stereotype because it works. But yeah, if you think of a mass shooter, the stereotype is always some sort of loner, quiet, bullied, what to say, incel, some sort of virgin. And I always say, if that dude just got a blowjob from somebody, he'd probably be like, you know what, life's good. I don't need to be out here doing this. That could be a solution, man. I would say legalize prostitution. You know how if dude, just go relieve yourself over there, man. Relax, man. Life's not that hard. You just chill out, But yeah, this is another thing. That's man, people who are just pissed off at the world that they misery likes misery. That they'll take it on strangers, people who never did them wrong. They're pissed off. So you know what? I'm pissed off. I'm gonna let the world know and I don't know, take as many people as I can. So and that's never gonna stop. That's been going on. People think mass shootings are recent phenomenon. You could go back 100 years ago. There was stuff like this. I think there was one case, and freaking a, some dude was pissed off about property taxes like 100 years ago, and he brought a bombs to a school, and he put them in the on one floor. And he blew it up, and then he just went off, on some real on a killing spree, and it was like yeah, about 100 years ago. And so it's not something new. You could look up like here in Texas, man, like Charles Whitman went up on a bell tower and started blasting people. There's been so many here in Texas in the 60s, 70s, 80s. So it's not something that's new. It's been happening forever, and usually always dudes, always men, always typically loners or people who are just mad at the world. I don't want to stereotype. It's just that it's like I mean, I am stereotyping, but I don't want to say that that should be a key indicator. I'm just saying that people who are pissed off, they'll let you know it eventually. I had a coworker one time, and I used to say, man, that guy's gonna be the next mass shooter. Just watch. And so I'm gonna always be nice to him, because when he goes out and starts blasting, I'll be like, hey man, I was nice to you. I was always nice to you. That's why I try to be chill and nice to everybody, because when they go off the rocker, I'm like, nah, man, I was cool with you, remember? And like that I think that worked in Columbine. There was one of the victims was let go because the shooter was just like, hey, get out of here. I think also in Parkland, one of the victims was let go. So I guess it pays sometimes to be nice. Sometimes, I don't know.
He was the one that fit that description in our class.
Did you ever see the gun, or did the student that go to the door see the gun, describe it to you guys?
No, I haven't talked with her after this. It was all pretty hectic, but I didn't see the gun.
Did he ever have a hobby of guns, hunting, and did he ever talk about any of that?
No, he never really talked.
Can you tell me what it was like inside of the classroom when you hear those gunshots?
And not talking to people, man, it's a lonely freaking world nowadays. I mean, nobody talks to nobody, man. It's okay. So I went to college, like, I don't know, 2016 was the last time I was in college, I think. So 8 years ago, and in high school everybody was social. Well, I went to high school in early 2000s, but going to college, nobody talks to anybody, man. Everybody was just antisocial. It was just weird. Everybody's, it was just like the norm that this new generation, people aren't friendly, like in person. Maybe online they're friendly, but in person, most people just keep to themselves. Like even in social events and stuff, everybody's just, I don't know, it's kind of weird. And I think it just isolates or makes more, I don't know, kind of creates the perfect scenario for this to continue to happen. Because if you're constantly living in a society where there's people are less and less friendly, and then you have these people that just get pissed off at the world, they don't really care about their fellow human beings anymore, because they're disgruntled, and they don't value humanity, because again they're constantly lonely, and it only gets worse, the older you get. So I don't know. Usually that's why I always think that I am pro raising the age of buying a gun, because most of the times mass shooters are young. They're real young, and by the time you get to like your 30s, you kind of just chill back a little bit, because you've handled what life could throw at you, and you're like, whatever, it ain't that bad. That's how I feel sometimes. I'm like, whatever. I've been through worse. Even on my worst days, nowadays, I kind of just chill. But when you're young, when you're in high school, um, you kind of just are. You think that it's the end of the world. You know, you think, my man, high school's everything, or college is everything, or whatnot. But the older you get, it's like, ah, man, it's not that bad, you know. And so I always thought they should raise the gun the age of buying a gun to like 31, you know, and watch crime reduce quickly. You know, if you got to be 31 and older to have a gun, you know, because now you don't have these young dudes just uh, um, as soon as they turn 21 or 18 buying a gun. You can buy an AK-47 at 18. Ain't that something? You know, and you can still be in high school at 18. You know, at least 21 should be more reasonable. Okay, let me continue playing the video.
Let's go off how I heard that you helped to keep the other students calm, right?
Yeah, most of like when we heard it, most people just dropped to the floor and like kind of crawled in an area, like piled on top of each other, lost a shoe when they were, trying to get to a corner. The teacher turned off the lights, but we all just kind of piled together. And like I pushed desks in front of us. I was just telling people like, oh, push desks in front of you, block in front of you, get low, things like that.
And are there any metal detectors in the school?
No, not that I know of.
Did you guys drill for active shooters? We know that some school districts do that.
They were silent.
Metal detectors could be a thing, but I like the idea. Which again, I'm not against if it could deter like I would think metal detectors might stop people from carrying blades more than guns. It is another preventative measure, but I like the idea of AI, like I said, of RFID guns, or having computers outside, because a lot of times a shooter doesn't even go to that school, and he's gonna come after one school's already in session. Like I said, we saw that in Uvalde. We saw this in Parkland. What else? Sandy Hook. These were all like people who weren't even students. They just showed up to the campus. So metal detectors aren't really going to stop that. But again, I'm not against metal detectors. It is another safety measure. You know, have as many safety measures as you can.
So we stayed in our seats. The teachers kept teaching through them. I think it was more for like the system of it instead of like preparing us.
How quickly, from the moment that you heard the gunshots go off to the hard lockdown?
Oh, that could be another thing too. They could have a boomerang system. So, I don't know if that's what we call it in the military, boomerang. But basically, is you set up these like sensors in an area. If it hears a gunshot, it first of all, it tells you where the gunshot's coming from, and it sends off an alert to some, whoever, to the law enforcement, that hey, gunshots are going off in this location, So in the military, we have those in our vehicles. So as you're like in a convoy, if you're getting shot at, it tells you that you're getting shot from 300 meters to your right. So you have an area of where your target's at. And again, this is something that can be easily set up around not just campuses. You can set up this around town. Every time gunshots are going off, it can tell you exactly what location they're coming at.
An alert going on the screens, letting everyone else in the school know that something had gone wrong. How long did that take? Do you recall?
Maybe a couple minutes, but it wasn't instant.
At what point did you know that this was over?
When the cops came in the room and asked us to put our hands up, asked us if we had anything. A little bit after that, they let us all out. But when it was kind of quiet, you hear like cops yelling, but it's kind of quiet. There's no more gunshots, things like that.
What was that communication like with your parents? I mean, all of us have phones nowadays. I spoke with many students, texting what they thought might be their last words to their parents. What was that like for you?
I called my mom. I called her and I was like, oh, they're shooting up the school. She thought it was like, she didn't believe me at first, and I was like, they actually are. And I talked to her for a second, and she was like, oh, I'm on my way right now. And then I was like, okay, I gotta go call other people. I text all my friends in the school, out of school, everywhere. And I'm just texting and calling kind of everybody.
And what was that like leaving the school? I saw videos of officers escorting the students with their hands raised. What was that like?
It was protocol, obviously, but I was glad it was over. Like, I was glad we were able to leave. I was looking for my friends that were there. I was comforting the ones that had been through a little bit of a harder time.
And then, Lila, what would you say to this student that you were just elbow to elbow with just this morning in algebra class, and now this?
I'm not sure. I want to know why he did it. I think that would be a...
Because he's pissed off at the
I don't know
world.
why.
Lila, thank you so much for...
He's mad at the world and doesn't know how to let his frustration out. So he does it the way he's seen it done. Like monkey see, monkey do. He's seen other dudes do it this way, so that's what he's gonna do. One last bit too of technology. I mentioned this, I think, in the Uvalde video, that law enforcement should also have access to the cameras on campus, like directly to their phones, so that they can they know where the shooter's at, they know how he looks, they know everything, you know, and instead of going in blind. And like, again, this way they're not walking into an ambush or anything, you know. They could have, like, I don't know, a freaking almost think in the future we might have like a system of have you seen the, I don't know what they call that, the Apple headsets, the Vision Pro? Have like a version of the Vision Pro for law enforcement, and it just displays like a screen, and it can be bulletproof or something, like this is like for SWAT or something, and they know where the shooter's at and how he's looking at it, because they have access to the school cameras. And I don't know, this is just a future. I'm a huge sci-fi nerd, so this is what I think about how to implement sci-fi into or technology into everyday issues. And Vision Pro too can be used for other if you integrate it with like facial recognition AI for law enforcement. They can put those on, and every time they're walking around, it's freaking scanning people. It'll tell you, oh, this person is wanted. It's almost like a RoboCop. There was a scene in RoboCop where he's just scanning the crowd, and he sees a person that's wanted. You know, that could be that might be the future. It's military grade Vision Pro systems that law enforcement will be walking around wearing. And like, even when they pull somebody over, they don't even have to check for ID. Most of the times that starts a lot of drama. They pull you over and they take one look at you, and they already know who you are. They already know if you have warrants and everything. That's probably going to be the future, honestly. I can't really think off the top of my head of any other solutions, but I think the solutions will be done by the private sector, because again, it's not going to be the government. The government's too slow. You have too much lobbying on both ends, and it's like I said, it's been happening for a long time, and it's up to us to take measures to stop this. Also, one more advice I would say: every person should know how every adult should know how a gunshot sounds like, because at least go to a shooting range and get comfortable around it, so you know if you hear it, what's going on. Because there's times, like there was like that Vegas shooting where they were getting shot at, and people thought, you know, oh, it's fireworks, y'all need to chill, you know, it's fireworks. And I'm like, no, man, if you heard gunshots, you know that ain't no fireworks, you know. And the thing is, one thing that we need to do as to survive is like read the situation, read the room, and if you know what's going down, bounce. You know that don't be a spectator. Don't stick around. Get your ass out of there. First of all, you're gonna hinder law enforcement because you're just another person in the way. Get out of the way, leave, and get to safety. You know, leave it to the experts. Even though sometimes, like in Uvalde, man, they fucking suck. In theory, if you leave it to the pros, it should get done. Yeah, but if you want to survive, bounce. You know, you hear. This is like one thing living in the hood. I've been a victim of gun violence since I was, I think, 6 years old. I had a guy put a rifle on me, and it's just taught us, you know, if stuff stop, if you hear guns popping, you know, don't even ask questions. That's how you know when somebody's really from a bad neighborhood. They don't stick around. You know, you see people from like a really bad neighborhood, and I don't know, like gunshots start blasting. They're already a mile away. When you hear people who ain't from there, they're like, "Gee, I wonder what. Maybe I should go investigate. What is that? You know?" And then bam, they become a mark. Survival instincts. You know, what is that? Not just have some survival instincts. I don't know. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts if you could come up with something that how technology could save the day that I didn't mention, because there's probably out there, you know. We just have to really focus more on that and less on the government being the ones that it's gonna do anything about it.